Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Welcome to the program. Huss, JBM, and Patty with you, getting ready for March Madness. Today on the program, we will hit the NHL a little bit later on, but we're going to hit our favorite spread picks, draft style here in the Lock Shop. We're each going to be making 6 plays for a little head-to-head competition and get into some of the options that are waiting for us when we fill out our brackets and, of course, get to a massive first-round slate over at Coolbet.com. Of course, the Lock Shop presented by Coolbet. Head on over to Coolbet.com. If you haven't played there before, use the promo code LOCKSHOP for a 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. Perfect time to take advantage of that if you haven't played at Coolbet as we get ready for the madness. Gentlemen, looking good. What's going on? How are you?
Doing good, Huss. This is by far one of my most favorite times of the year. March Madness, the next couple of days. I don't know, I don't know how much work is getting done. I'll be quite frank. I know, Jake, your boss is online here. I know it. Productivity is going to be at an all-time low at the Coolbet headquarters. We know that much. But this is where the work comes. The work comes the days leading up to the tourney, filling out your bracket, picking your spreads, and then come Thursday time, get the secondary screen going, still have your laptop open, and enjoy the madness.
Yeah, laptop open just in case an email rolls in.
Exactly.
Other than that, though, you're going to be locked in. JBM, what's up? How'd you enjoy the finish of the conference tournaments as we get ready for the tourney to get going?
Yeah, usually I jump into the college basketball a little earlier but this year I kind of waited until conference tournament week, and I don't want to say I was hitting my stride because the time the madness hits, it's going to be totally different beast. But yeah, I got into it a little bit. Some teams needed it a little bit more. You can't all base everything off the conference tournament because, some of these teams, they know they're already in. They know they're already getting the top seed. And some of these teams are fighting for their lives, right, trying to get into this tournament. So, yeah, it should be a good year. I'm pretty fired up. Like, I've been staring at this bracket for 3 days, and I can't. Like, I almost have it memorized. Like, I know where everything is on the bracket. So, yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to get going here and talk some spreads. I think that's the one thing that's unique about the Lock Shop, right? Is anyone can do a March Madness bracket pool and pick winners and go all the way, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to get a little spreads draft going straight from the Coolbet lines.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. Hey, before we dive into this, Pat, and again, you guys have been more locked in on college hoops than I have, but I did notice, and listen, people are always bitching once the selections are made, and there's always a team that should be and that shouldn't be out, but I don't remember like a governor trying to sue the NCAA. And honestly, I don't remember as much blowback as the selection of a certain blue blood team in the North Carolina Tar Heels getting in. I mean, the level of outrage, and listen, people are always outraged and mad online about a lot of things. But it seemed like it was almost unanimous that NC has no business being in this tourney, and they jobbed a couple of very, very quality outfits that deserve to be in here at their expense.
It garnered the attention of Governor Patrick Morrissey. This was absolutely insane. The guy had a press conference, the governor of the state, and the quote was, "This is a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest level," because West Virginia did not make it into March Madness. This is how serious things, people. It involves the government getting involved. The National Corrupt Athletic Association is what he was calling it. An all-time sports moment. Truly hilarious stuff that we saw. Obviously, nothing happened. We still have UNC in the bracket. Maybe I don't know if I'm teasing my picks or what it may be. But the fact that there's so much outrage with UNC, I don't know how far I'm going to take them in my bracket, but I have a feeling because there's just so much outrage, they're going to use that as motivation inside that locker room. And I would not be surprised if we see a Tar Heel run just to stick it to everyone who was complaining about how outrageous it was for them getting in, which I don't necessarily disagree. It's kind of crazy that they ended up in there, but they're in there now. So I feel like this could actually go against everyone. This could actually end up motivating this Tar Heels team.
JBM, before we dive into this, we don't have the full bracket yet because, of course, there are play-in games, and that's getting going tonight, I believe. Like the next 2 nights, we've got 2 games each, and I guess NC's in one of those games.
Yeah, it's what they call the first 4. So it's really a 68-team tournament, but 8 of the teams have to play kind of just to get into the tournament. A lot of the times it's 4 smaller schools working their way to become a 16 seed. Take on a number 1 seed, but then it's also, 2 little bit bigger schools and some big time pedigree in this first 4. I mean, we have UNC versus San Diego State tonight. San Diego State, you remember, made a run to the Final Four a couple years back, and then Texas versus Xavier tomorrow in one of the other first 4 games that'll be going on. So, yeah, I mean, Patty kind of broke it down with all the conversation surrounding UNC. I'm not going to be shocked if they get by San Diego State tonight and find their way into a first-round matchup against Ole Miss. I think that would be probably on Thursday. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But, yeah, it all kicks off tonight. And, I will mention before we get right into this, Huss, we do have Coolbet Madness returning for March Madness this season, and it starts with the first 4. So this year, it's a 30% profit boost every single round of the tournament. So I'll let you guys know this isn't part of my spread picks, but I did take last night the 2 favorites just on the money line. It's plus 132 right now. You can use your multiplier on that if you'd like tonight for the first 4. You could also use it on the games tomorrow, and then you'll get a fresh 30% boost for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and through the rest of the rounds of the tournament.
That is awesome. And again, you don't really need to do anything other than click on the little green button when you make your selection to utilize. So you got a profit boost, 30% for the first 4. And then again, once we get going on Thursday for round 1, once we are down to 64 teams. All right. We often do snake drafts. Do we want to go back and forth and have guys making 2 picks at a time, or do we just want to run down the row 6 times? Doesn't really matter to me.
I think snake makes sense. I think if we run it, I don't know if you're fine with this, Patty, run it just the way we're lined up right now.
Yeah, sure.
Myself and then you for 2, and then we'll switch back to me.
I'm fine with that. Our last draft that we had, I was last pick, and I felt like I got absolutely boned not getting the snake.
I think you need the snake swing.
So let's go with the snake.
All right, well, let's do that. So we're going to take 6 picks, time allowing. And again, this is very simple. We're going to the odds board. It's at coolbet.com. We're clicking on March Madness. All of the games outside of the games involving the play-ins are ready to go. So we're taking anything from Thursday morning or later, and we're taking picks against the spread. So let's get this going. The
other thing, Huss, maybe we should mention, we're going to do 1 from each region.
Oh, yes.
So we'll all have a pick from each region, and then we get 2 wild cards so we can pull those from any region that we choose. Once a game has been picked, so we decided we can't pick the other side. Like, say, Patty liked, Florida on the big number, and I like Norfolk State. We're just leaving it. Once you pick that game, it's off the board. Are we fine with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We'll get some variety.
Because then at least we'll get probably 6 times 3. We'll get 18 out of the 32 first games here, and that'll be a good chunk that we'll cover.
Okay, I got to see which. I'm glad you reminded me of that because I forgot that we were looking for.
Get the time clock.
The different. Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure I knew what was going on with these with the different things. Okay, my first pick, and again, it wasn't like this is. I probably needed to pick it now, but I'm going to. We've got 2 Winnipeg dudes in March Madness. One is playing for Wofford, but a guy that is going to probably get a big WST bump because he was on the show with us last week is our guy Simon Hildebrand. He was the rookie of the year in the CEBL, played the last 2 years for the Sea Bears, transferred to High Point University, and they won their conference tournament. They are the 13 seed, and they were going up against Purdue. Now, listen, Purdue, one of those Big Ten teams, no Zach Edey anymore. I guess I've probably just seen more on High Point, having Simon on the program and doing a little digging. But they are a team that has gotten some players back over the last couple months and seem to really be playing their best. It is somewhat of a heart pick, too. And again, when we're talking about spread picks, not necessarily them to win, they're coming right out of the gate in the second game on Thursday. I believe 11:40 here. The first game Thursday morning is Creighton and Louisville. And then it's High Point and Purdue. High Point is getting 7.5 points. I don't know whether I'll have the Stones on the betting line to take the plus 290 on the money line. I'm sure I will have that as an upset on my bracket. But give me High Point plus 7.5. And that is from the Midwest to start things off.
Yeah, Huss going to the Midwest on his first pick. Patty and I were chatting just before this, and he said it was probably his favorite quadrant on the board, but he didn't say necessarily for spreads. I didn't have a lot from the Midwest, and High Point was one of my picks out of the Midwest. So I think what I'm going to do is just take my other pick out of the Midwest. A lot of talk around this team because they were a little low-seeded based on where they were. They're 9th in KenPom, if you use the KenPom ranking. And they got an 8 seed in the Midwest. I'm taking the Zags minus 5.5. They're going up against Georgia. Now the SEC has been a really good conference this year. A ton of teams have come out of the SEC. I think the Zags have some, March Madness pedigree. They've been here. They've been a number 1 seed. And they're a team that's, I think, being a little disrespected in terms of where they're ranked. So I'm going to take Gonzaga minus 5.5 out of the Midwest as well as my first pick.
Yeah, I like that. Midwest, yeah, no, I agree with you, Jake. I think there's a lot of really good teams, but when it comes to spreads, this one's a tricky one. So both you guys get the Midwest out of the way. I'm not going to follow the trend, though. I'm going to go to one of the regions that I like the most, and one of the matchups that I think everyone always loves to fill out on their bracket, finding out what is going to be that 12 versus 5. And I think this one will be trendy, but I will follow the trend. UC San Diego plus 2.5 against Michigan. And I get it, Michigan coming off a Big Ten championship win, but this UC San Diego team might be one of the best stories coming into this tournament. It's the first time since switching from D2 to D1 that they are now NCAA tournament eligible, and they're looking to be one of those Cinderella stories. They lead the country in a turnover margin at plus 7.8 per game, while the Wolverines are outside the top 300 at minus 2.8. They are very, very sloppy with the ball. This UCSD team, 30-4 in the regular season and playoffs straight up, and 24-7 against the spread. And yes, I know they're going up against weaker foes. They haven't seen a team quite as athletic as this Michigan team, but I think this is a big step up in play, and I think they're going to be able to accept that challenge, and we're going to see a plucky 12 take off the 5, but all that I need them to do is cover the 2.5. So give me the Titrons to cover the 2.5 against the Wolverines.
All right, so round 1 is in the books. I've taken High Point plus 7.5 from the Midwest. Jake, also in the Midwest, is laying 5.5 with Gonzaga. And Patty is taking UCSD plus 2.5, a pretty short line against a Michigan team that was just cutting down some nets on the weekend. So I like the aggressive pick following your feelings, Patty, for this one. All right, we move on to round 2, and Pat, you are starting it off.
I'm going to go with another high seed, or I guess you could say low seed, a high seed going up against Akron, 13.5 against Arizona. I'm going with the Zips here to cover that 13.5. They're a fun team. They average just about 11 3-pointers per game, and Arizona really struggles to shoot the 3. This might be a tough task for them to win this game outright, but I think the Zips can really keep pace with a very good Arizona team. I just feel like the style of play matches really well. This is one where if you have Arizona going deep, you're going to sweat this one out. I think Arizona wins the game, but 13.5 seems like a lot of disrespect for the MAC champ. So give me Akron plus 13.5 to close out the East for my first pick of that region.
Akron plus 13.5. And what region is that one again?
It's the East region.
East.
All right, Jake, round 2 for you.
Yeah, I just want to say I like the pick, Patty. I am all over the Zips. I actually jumped on the over in that game as well. The over is my favorite bet.
Best bet, 1,000%. Both these teams play at an unbelievably high pace. Over is the bet of the round 1 for me.
Yeah, that'll be an exciting one. I'm looking forward to it. I think I have same kind of thing, Arizona squeaking through. But if you're going to take the Zips, don't be afraid to bet the money line with some of these underdogs. If you like an underdog to cover, a lot of the times, they're probably going to be in this game with a chance to win it. So something to keep in mind. Okay, for my next pick, I'm just kind of looking at my board here. We've talked about some of the underdogs winning. I'm actually going to jump on a 13 seed here out of the South region, Yale, plus 7.5. I think we've already seen this number move a little bit. They've come down. I think they were at 7.5, down to 6.5, back up to 7.5. So I'll take it at the best number. But Yale's a team that I think goes overlooked because they are Ivy League. This is a team that's won tournament games in recent memory. And, going up against another one of those SEC teams, listen, the SEC it's a really good conference, but I think, some of these top tier SEC teams are a little bit different than some of these mid-tier SEC teams. Mm-hmm. So I think I have Yale in this one at plus 7.5. I like the number there. I also probably going to sprinkle Yale on the money line as well. They're going up against Texas A&M. I believe, I don't know if that's a Thursday or Friday game, but nonetheless, I'm on Yale.
I like that one a lot.
Yale. Okay, I got to just see. Okay, here we go. All right, you know what? I'm going to take in this is from the East. Okay, so my East pick. Oh, and which bracket was that one by you, Jake?
That was the South.
Okay,
Yale out of the South.
South. Okay, so for my second pick, I'm going to go to the East and this BYU VCU game. And BYU is one of those teams and one of those schools, and this is not even unique to basketball, where I'm not sure people totally respect the quality of the athletes and the athletic program that they have. And, they sort of play out in no man's land. And then all of a sudden you come down to the top level of competition and they continue to surprise. Now, they are a 6 seed, and they're going up against VCU. And VCU, I just want to say, for total casuals, I have a feeling might be a little bit we think of that run they had with Shaka Smart a few years ago, and they're a team that people just remember they've done some things. from what I'm reading, I'm not sure they're ready to be that team this year. So listen, at a matchup with BYU as the favorite, but a short favorite at -2.5, I will take BYU for my second pick, and that is out of the East, I believe. Yep, that's out of the East. And then my second pick here is going to be from the South region. And, I've been looking at some of the, kind of team rankings overall. The depth, the strength of their bench. Obviously for moving forward. And one of those teams, although I believe they're coming off, they'll probably be in an ornery mood after their tournament, is Michigan State. Michigan State is in the South region, and the unfortunate team that has to go up against them is Bryant University. I would be lying if I told you I knew much about Bryant. But considering how big a couple of the spreads are, the fact that this one is under 20, I can live with it. So I'm going to take Michigan State -17.5 to have sort of a big statement game to begin the tourney, blowing out Bryant, winning by 18 or more. Michigan State -17.5 is the first pick of round 3 from the South region. Jake, back to you.
Yeah, you know what they say, Huss? January, February, Izzo. Patty was waiting for that one. Michigan State, always a team you like in the tournament. I like them making a nice deep run, and I think it'd be off to a good start against Bryant in the South. Okay, my third pick, just trying to see where I'm at here, where my picks are lining up. Not a lot out of the West yet. I think I am going to go to the East myself, though, and jump on one of these teams. Since you guys both grabbed a pick from the East in Akron and VCU, I'm going to take in the 8-9 matchup Mississippi State. I've already bet against a couple SEC teams, but I think Baylor's one of those teams that's getting a bit of love because of recent success, where I think Mississippi State is actually a better ball club. You're getting a nice number at -1.5. You could probably play this money line. For the sake of the show, I'm going to play it spread, obviously. But I think if you like Mississippi State in this one, play it to the money line. Don't risk the 1.5 points. And they can set themselves up for a nice chance at Duke in the second round. So I'm going to take Mississippi State in the East region for my third pick.
What's the line there? +1.5?
-1.5 for Mississippi State.
-1.5 Mississippi State. So Jake and I both have Midwest, East, and South. So we need a pick from the West. Patty's got the South and the East so far, and has the last pick of round 3 and the first pick of round number 4.
Well, you mentioned I need West, so I'll go with the West here. I'm going to go with the number 11 seed, Drake, +6.5 against Missouri. Jake talked about the SEC and how great they've been so far this year. I don't love fading the SEC, but I love Drake. And I think, again, one of the things I looked at is the mismatch in play. I think this Bulldogs team completely just matches very well against Missouri. Jake, they'll grind you up. Slowest pace in the entire tournament. They rebound great. They don't turn the ball over. They score the most points in fast break. They have the best defense against the fast break in all of the NCAA, which, like I said, matches up perfectly against the Tigers. This is a team that wants to run. They score off turnovers. They score in transition. Drake has done a really good job covering the number this year as well. And sometimes, it takes God's plan for you to make a Cinderella story. And you talk about the dance, all you need is one dance. And maybe they could be lifting up trophies at the end of this tournament. Give me Drake +6.5 against Missouri.
Patty spent his entire prep getting Drake references for that pick. It was on my card, Patty. I love the pick. I actually have them upsetting in the first round. And, maybe I don't want to give too much away, but I might have them upsetting in the second round as well. Drake, I think they're one of those teams that, people, they kind of lull you to sleep, like you said, Patty, but find ways to win basketball games. So a good pick.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to stay in the West because I know I need a Midwest, but you guys both have them here already. I want to use one of my wild cards. My name in March might have to be Patino Patty because I am absolutely riding with St. John's here. The Johnnies have been balling out, man, this year. They were unranked going into this season. Now they're one of the best teams in the entire nation. They dominated the Big East tournament at MSG, and they are absolutely rolling into the dance on fire. They have the top-rated defense in the nation, according to KenPom, and Omaha is outside the top 250 in defense. It's a big number at minus 18.5. But I don't see Patino dribbling down his leg here in this big moment. He's going to come out here. He's going to want to start on fire. So give me the Red Storm minus 8.5 against Omaha. And I think I'm going to be betting on this Johnny's team a lot in March.
Love it. So Drake plus 6.5 from the West and then also from the West. So it's his first wild card. That's what we're doing. One from each region and then 2 more picks from any games.
Right, yeah. So that's Patty's first wild card. He still needs 1 from the Midwest and then 1 more wild card to clean out his 6.
Excellent. So again, and you and I, Jake, both need 1 from the West and then whatever picks we like. You are up next.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the West. I can't let it go any longer, Patty. The number's already moved. I think it opened at 5.5, but I'm going to take my Hogs at plus 4.5. New coach this year, Coach John Calipari, a man that knows the tournament very well with Kentucky. I do worry about their depth. They only run about a 7-man rotation, so it's a bit of a concern. But I think they can give some fits of the 10 seed against Kansas in the first round. Calipari's very familiar with the blue blood programs, and Arkansas is my team. My mom's an Arkansas alum. My grandfather's an Arkansas alum. I wasn't going to let this one slip any further. So out of the West region, give me Arkansas plus 4.5. I'm taking the money line as well for my picks this week.
That was on my board, but I knew in my heart of hearts, I couldn't take that away from you. So
I appreciate it, Patty. I appreciate it.
It's a good thing you made that pick, and I forgot the fact that you had Arkansas ties. That was my pick, and for no other reason that I said to myself, and again, I haven't watched a ton of college hoops, but I have seen KU be one of the most disappointing teams in the season this year, highly ranked, and they have just fallen and fallen and fallen. And there was a game, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. We were at the bar. We're looking. I'm like, is KU down like 30 at home? I'm like, I cannot wait to fade these guys because they are, again, one of those big programs that people are going to get the brackets. Oh, Kansas, they're always really good. Well, they're actually not good this year. Far from it, from what I'm saying. So nicely done on the Arkansas pick, Jake. And I won't even feel too bad for myself that I didn't get that pick in because you definitely wanted it. Although now I do need to pivot. So in the West, Drake is gone. Arkansas is gone. St. John's is gone. Is Penny Hardaway still the coach at Memphis?
That's quite the question.
I don't think so.
Was he? I for whatever reason, I thought I'll look that up at once.
Actually, no, he's. Looks like he still might be. Yeah, looks like he still might be.
He still is there now. I'm looking for a line on that game.
Head coach since 2018.
Now, are they're
an underdog. They're 2.5-point underdog to Colorado State, I believe.
Colorado State.
This is
State,
like the
2:00 game on Friday, Huss.
This is like
yeah, go ahead. Buddy.
Yeah, this is the trendy pick. Everyone in their bracket is taking this because they are the favorite as the lower seed. Do that with what you will. Sometimes the quote unquote obvious upset is the one that doesn't work. So maybe you roll with Penny and buck the trend of everyone else.
Yeah, you gotta remember, like, just because it looks like an upset in the bracket doesn't mean it necessarily is an upset. That's the thing growing up when you're making brackets as a kid. You're always looking at the numbers next to the team. And you grow up, you start working for a sports book, you start gambling a little bit, and you're starting to bet based on the numbers on the spreads, not necessarily the numbers next to the team.
You know what? Let's go with a blue blood team, a Big East team. The Yukon Huskies against Oklahoma, 8-9 game. They're 4.5-point favorites. I don't love the number, but I'm going to do it. Yukon minus 4.5. And that is my pick out of the West. So now I can basically pick any of the games that we do like. And geez, I guess I'm actually laying points with 3. I think I wouldn't mind taking a dog or 2 for my next pick. Akron is off the board. You know what? Just on principle, give me Norfolk State plus 28.5 against Florida. Now, I know Florida is really good. They're a 1 seed, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the bracket in front of me. But I mean, this is a game where you go, there'll be no pressure to win by 30 or 35. Although I guess in today's world with so much betting, I'm sure the guys will know what the spread are and might go for it. But I mean, these teams, even the teams that are 15 and 16 seeds, have earned their spot there. This is their moment. They're going to want to avoid being embarrassed to the max. So, it's like what we say when we're doing the NFL picks. Too many points. Give me, I don't mind taking 28.5 with Norfolk State against Florida for pick number 5.
Okay, Huss. I don't mind it at all. I try to stay away from those big numbers for whatever reason. I just they scare the crap out of me. Both sides, like those big numbers as a dog or as a favorite. So wild card 1, I'm going to go up to the South region, and I thought this was pretty crazy. I found this out yesterday. Louisville gets a game in Lexington, Kentucky.
I know.
So they get a home game in the first, I think, 2 rounds. Like if they got past Creighton, they would get another home against Auburn, number 1 seed Auburn, basically at a Lexington. So I'll take the, quote unquote home team here at minus 2.5 against Creighton out of the South region. I just thought that was pretty crazy that Louisville, Kentucky team gets a game in Lexington, Kentucky. I'm sure it'll be majority Louisville fans, and I'll hope they ride those fans into the second round. So that's my pick out of the South. Was
there AD on the selection committee?
Well, who was on the selection committee.
All right, so Jake's in with Louisville minus 2.5 for pick number 5. So Pat, you need a pick from the Midwest, and then your other favorite pick.
Yeah, I guess I'll wrap up here with my last 2 picks. I'm going to go into the Midwest again. This is one that I don't love. I also don't love that I'm now potentially fading a friend of the program in someone in WST on Wolford, but I'm going Tennessee minus 18.5. I just think this is going to be a Tennessee team that's going to come into this pissed off after the result that they had in that SEC tournament. When you look at Wofford, like it seems like just even to get to the tournament, they had to waste a lot of their luck. Like they were like the number 6 seed in their tournament. Like they weren't even a top seed heading into their conference tournament. So I just think this is going to be just a little bit too much to handle for Wofford. So I'll go with the Vols 18.5. And man, I started out taking a lot of these quote unquote, underdog Cinderella stories. A lot of people like, now I'm noticing with what's left on the board, I'm starting to go with bigger spreads, and I think I'm going to keep with that trend. I am going to go with Alabama Alabama to cover. I think it's 23 now. Where is it there? What's the number at?
Oh, sorry, Patty.
Is this the Rico Bosco pick?
This is I'm a rider. I am a known rider. So I'm going to ride with Rico here. I'm going to ride with Alabama. They're the number one scoring offense in the entire nation. They shoot the three ball really well, and Robert Morris is, just cannot defend the three at all. It's Robert Morris. This is a lacrosse school. This is a hockey school. It's a great story that they're here, but I think Alabama really, again, another team that had a disappointing SEC tournament. I think they're going to come out guns a-blazing. I really think that this is a spot here where they flex their muscles. A lot of people get excited about it. This is a team that I really, really did want to take deep in my bracket. I don't think I will once I finalize that. Nate Oates is a great coach, but they scare me as a team that could go to the Final Four or the Elite Eight. But I don't need them to go deep. This isn't a bracket draft. This is a round one draft, and I think they can blow the water. Blow Bobby Moe out of the water. So I'll take Alabama minus 23.5.
Excellent. So do you have one more? Or did you just make two?
Nope.
I just made two. I'm done.
Who was the one before Bama?
Tennessee.
Oh yeah, Tennessee. And that was 18.5 against Wofford?
Yep.
You know that have you seen Wofford, the guy that does the granny free throw shots?
No, now I feel even worse. I'm going up against a guy that does the granny shots. That's tough.
That's the dude from Winnipeg, Kyler Filowich.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I guess he was shooting like 30%. And they had Rick Barry come in. They said, well, listen, if you got nothing else, this is how we used to do it when things are going. He started doing the granny. I'm not sure it's helped that much. I think he was still at 32 or 33% as we got in, but the guy's an actual beast. So they do need him on the court for a bunch of other things. You just hope that he's not the guy at the line. But I'm sure we will see at some point in the first round a video of Kyler Filowich going to the line doing the granny shots. So hopefully you can get a few of those. All right, Jake, the board is open for you.
Yeah, surprisingly a lot.
For your final pick.
I thought I had enough on there that I would be, pretty okay. But a lot of the games, whether it was one side or the other, came off the board during the picks. So shout out to you guys. But I'm going to go with one from the chat. I know this is a bit of a trendy underdog, but this is going to give me a nice split. 3 favorites, 3 underdogs. And out of the Midwest region, I'm going to take McNeese plus 7.5. Big Maple shouted them out in the chat. Yeah, listen, I like Clemson to win the game, but McNeese is one of those teams people, are pretty impressed with. 27 wins on the season. So I think they can keep it within the number, and I'll jump on them as a 12 seed out of the Midwest to wrap up my picks with my second wild card there.
How about they're not McNeese State anymore? It's just McNeese.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at that. I wanted to
broke my brain.
It just says McNeese on the old bracket, so I'm just going to trust that's. Yeah, I thought it was McNeese State as well, Patty. I was a little.
What was the number on McNeese again?
Plus 7.5, and that one's for Big Maple. He said
plus
smartest guy
7.5.
on the screen, Jakey boy.
Big Maple. All right, I see a little shade from you, Chaz, in the chat. Hopefully Huss does better in this pick draft versus the Super Bowl pick draft. I have moved on from the Super Bowl. Everything about the Super Bowl, it is in the rearview mirror.
Super Bowl was so last month, Huss.
Yeah. You know what? There's been a lot of things that have happened. 4 nations and listen, we move
people
forward.
Forget, Huss.
They
went on a run.
do. Although congratulations to Jake for killing that one. Here he goes. All right, so I got one more pick to make. Troy versus Kentucky. Kentucky is one of those teams that you always expect to be good. I'm not sure that they actually are good this year. Maryland versus Grand Canyon, another interesting matchup. That is the what seed are those two teams? Maryland and Grand Canyon.
That's a 4-13.
Mm-hmm.
And Maryland is a 10.5 point favorite there. I've got 2 dogs. I've got 3 favorites so far. What do we know about Lipscomb? 14.5 point dogs to Iowa State.
I did hear Iowa State. I heard this yesterday that Iowa State basically held out an injury, like a key injury to a player, just to wait on seeding, and then was like, "Oh, by the way, one of our better guys is injured, but yeah, thanks for the high seed or whatever." That's basically what they pulled. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that's all factored into the spread, but just something there with Iowa State that they might not be fully healthy.
Yeah, Lipscomb, I believe they're the Bison. They won the Atlantic Sun. I think that's where they play.
Some of these conferences, man.
I know. But yeah, they're again. This is just me. This is how my dumb sports betting brain and sports bracket brain works. Like Jake, I was going to bring that up. That is bad juju. That is upsetting the sports gods. If you withhold that and then announce that after, you got bad karma coming for you. So whether that's Lipscomb keeping it a close game, knocking them off, or maybe them losing next round, I don't know when it's coming, but the sports god, the gambler, is coming for them. And I would not be against them covering the spread here and maybe even knocking off the clones.
You know what? I'm going to go with this. And again, this is a number that I think I'm getting a better number at Coolbet than it might be on some other places as of right now, just compared to what my bracket says. And a team that, wait a second. Can I actually pick a team that's going into the tournament on a 7-game losing streak? I'm just
Looks
looking.
like it. Looks like it.
Marquette has lost. I was like, oh, that's. Well, I mean, they did lose the back-to-back games against St. John's, which were quite close. You know what? I'm going back to the drawing board on that one. I don't want any part of Marquette, and that's
New Mexico.
why.
The thing is, the Mountain West, man, like perennial losers in the tournament. I don't know what it is, but I just can't. Like, I stayed away from that game because New Mexico is a part of the Mountain West, and all they do in the tournament is lose. Outside of that San Diego State run, their record in the tournament is awful.
I feel like the Lobos, people have been telling me look out for the Lobos for the last 12 years, and nothing's happened.
Still nothing.
Texas A&M, are they SEC?
Yep.
Or I've already bet that game, though. I'm on Yale.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're on Yale. And Gonzaga is gone. Tennessee is gone. Drake gone. You know what? Give me I'm going to fade the Pac. Well, the Pac-12 is no longer in existence, actually, now that I think about it. UCLA has been spending all season long flying across the country. Give me Utah State. Plus 4.5. Big disappointment for UCLA and that entire conference. Plus 4.5, minus 104. For my hold on a second, it's just moved. Plus 5.5. Beautiful. I'll take that. Give me the extra point. Were they listing? Were they listening to me talk while
They might have been.
while I was getting in? That literally just changed. Minus 104 for Utah State at plus 4.5. Now it's minus 115 for plus 5.5. Honestly, like many things at the tournament, bit of a dart, but we had to fill it out. So here's what we've got. Huss from the Midwest, High Point plus 7.5. From the East, BYU minus 2.5. From the South, laying 17.5 with Michigan State. From the West, I've got UConn minus 4.5. I'm going to take the insane point spread of Norfolk State plus 28.5 against Florida. And I'm going to take 5.5 with Utah State versus the UCLA Bruins. Jake, you want to run down your 6?
Yeah, my 6 are Gonzaga -5.5 out of the Midwest, Yale +7.5 out of the South, Mississippi State -1.5 out of the East, Arkansas +4.5 out of the West, and then my 2 wildcards are Louisville -2.5 out of the South region, McNeese +7.5 out of the Midwest. Patty?
All righty. I will. I'll bring it up here. I've out of the East. I've got the Akron Zips +13.5. Out of the South, I've got UC San Diego plus. What did that number end up being? 2.5.
2.5.
Yep. Drake +6.5 out of the West. Tennessee -18.5 out of the Midwest, and then my wild cards -18.5 for the Johnnies. And then Alabama, my last wild card pick, -23.5. I like it. 3 underdogs, 3 favorites, 3 big favorites. That's kind of what I wanted.
I think we're building something perfect here. I think we do a 3-leg underdog parlay, 3-leg favorite parlay with the spreads, and then we'll have 2 lock shot parlays for the first round. I don't know if you guys have a favorite from your 3.
Yeah, why don't we all do that? We've all got different picks. So take your favorite underdog pick and your favorite spread pick. I think for the dogs, I'm going to go with High Point. I know it was on one of your guys' picks as well. Yep. So I will take that. So that will be my underdog at +7.5. And I think for the favorites, I'm going to go Michigan State -17.5.
I like that. That was on my card.
Yeah, I love Michigan State in March. There's no doubt there. Okay, for mine, I'm going to go for the favorites. As my first pick, I'm going to go Gonzaga. I like them. I think they're poorly ranked, and I think they take care of business in the first round. And then my second pick, I'll take Yale +7.5 as my dog.
All right, Patty?
All right. Well, I don't really have any small favorites. They're all massive fellows, so I might need a little bit of assistance from you guys. I'm either leaning Tennessee -18.5 or St. John's -18.5. Is there one that you like better than the other, Jake? I know you're terrified when it comes to something more than a couple 3-pointers as a favorite.
Yeah, they're both 18.5 point favorites, so pick your poison.
I don't know. I like Tennessee. I think they play really strong defense. I think it's one of those games where, who they're playing, Wofford. I think they're going to struggle a lot to put the ball in the basket, and I think Tennessee can take care of that by 20+. So, we want to go with that one. You okay with that one?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's on my card, so obviously, I'm in favor of that.
And then you've got either UCSD,
Patino Patty.
Akron, or your boy Drake. Or your
let's go. I think Jake. I think you had 2 of these on your card, anyways. Let's go with Drake 6.5.
Look at that.
Started from the bottom. Now they're here. All right. So our underdog play will be High Point +7.5. Yale +7.5, Drake +6.5, all reasonable numbers, like just looking for close games.
Yep.
And then our favorite parlay is going to be a couple of big ones. Michigan State -17.5, Gonzaga only -5.5, and then Tennessee -18.5. So we've got our favorites parlay. We've got our underdog parlay. We can get those up and get ready to go. Maybe a little boost for the boys from the Ev Dog, and we're rolling into March Madness.
Yeah, I'm fired up. I'll get something thrown together in terms of maybe a little graphic for the picks, and then we can roll those out on the combos. I know we don't got a lot of time here. Do we want to go through NHL at all, or we'll just close it out with the March Madness? Well,
listen, I'll tease this. I've done a bunch of stuff for WST already. So when we get into our show, I'm going to put together a WST parlay for the game tonight. And I will also put together a parlay a 3-gamer from the other games tonight, which we can throw up as a lock shopper for it. I mean, unless you guys have a game right now that you want me to throw on, I'll do a little bit of a deeper dive during our pre-tapes and lock in. A couple of interesting games, though, just quickly. Both the Jets and Oilers are in action tonight. Oilers are minus 154 favorites at home against Utah, who's charging right now, coming off that huge win they had against the Canucks. And the Canucks are at home desperately needing a win. Bad news for them, though. They've got the Jets coming in on a 3-game heater right now, playing very, very well. Jets are minus 163. The Oilers are minus 154. We may even have to put those two teams in with another one for a little lock shopper. That's the true partner parlay if we have both of those teams in. But I'll go through the rest of the games. We'll get something up in the combo cards. We'll have the exclusives with the WST parlay a little later on, and then lock in with the lock shop for March Madness. We've got our favorite picks, our 3-game favorite parlay, our 3-game underdog parlay, which the boys will get up there. And then hopefully, I don't even mind losing this draft if I go 5-1 and you guys go 6-0, because again, it's about winning tickets and cashing bets, and it is a lot of fun. This has been a good educational process for me and hopefully some others as we get ready for the tournament. And then on Saturday or Sunday, we'll be in the group chat going, what the hell did I know? My entire bracket.
For sure. My bracket's going to be gross by then.
I will say my bracket for TGL is busted with LA Golf Club losing yesterday. Tommy Fleetwood is on the list, man. He blew 4 holes last night. I know.
I watched the whole thing. It was excruciating.
So bad.
I'm going to have to go back, though. You know what? Maybe I'll actually maybe we'll do a lot. Okay, the parlay. I'm putting the Atlanta Drive on the parlay tonight. I'm going to take Atlanta Drive along with a couple of picks. Maybe Jets and Oilers, actually.
I can't believe he's turning his back on the Bayhive.
I know. I know. It's actually sickening.
This should be the final. I'm just saying right now, it's too bad the way the playoffs worked out and that tiebreaker with LA winning it, because I would take either of these teams tonight against either of the other ones. But if we did put down, is Atlanta still minus 110? Yep. So if we put Atlanta with the Jets and with the Oilers, I got to delete all of these.
It's okay. I got it for you, Russ. Plus 408.
Plus 408. Do we now I guess I know you're Bayhive guy. I don't know whether we can count this, but it is fun to put a TGL play.
No, you can't. You really, as much as it hurts, as much as the Bayhive have been stung with you switching your allegiance, you hopped on at the right time. I think it's going to be a close one. I can't turn my back on Oberg and Lowry, and Minwoo Lee is getting the start because Wyndham Clark's got a sore neck.
Yeah.
So the chef's going to be cooking tonight. It will be an individual bet play for myself because I have already bet it. But I'm not going to go against it if that's what you got there with
Billy Ho. The chains are going to be out tonight. The Dirty Bird. It's going to be a good time. So let's throw this one up. Jets and Oilers money line, Atlanta Drive in the TGL. We'll go with that for the parlay. Don't forget about the 30% boost. You can use it for the play-in game. Do you guys have a play-in pick quickly before we roll?
Oh yeah, give me a second here. Where'd they go?
Yeah, just for tonight, you're saying?
Tonight we got St. Francis against Alabama State. Bama State's minus 3.5, and then in North Carolina, 4.5-point favorites against San Diego State.
They're winning tonight. Like, there's no doubt. After all the stuff going on. This is what I did. I mean, I went a little square, but I mentioned off the top. I just took the two favorites tonight, money line, Alabama State, North Carolina. That gets you up over like plus 130-ish range. You could use your 30% boost there. I also have the under in Mount St. Mary's American tomorrow. It's low, but it's slow paced American plays. I think both these teams, it won't be a fun game to watch, but that's probably good for unders, usually is the case.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Jake. I was going to go a bit different, but maybe I'll just take your line of thinking. I was going to do Alabama State money line and then tease North Carolina down to 2.5. But you're thinking there, go money line. And
we
you
get the juice with the 30% too, right?
Yeah, I think that might have to be the play.
Couple other options on that parlay that we just put together. If you want to take Atlanta, Jets, Oilers, Bama State, and North Carolina, it's plus 1103. If you want to take the TGL off of that and just go Jets, Oilers, Bama State, North Carolina, that is plus 530 as well.
I can get behind that. I will put my endorsement behind that. I can't do that to my boys in the Bay Hive.
Hey, why don't we switch that up? Why don't we switch that up? It'll be a combo. It'll be for the community lock shop partner parlay. Jets and Oilers from the NHL. Bama State and the two favorites with it. It's plus 530. We might get it close to 6-1 by the time it's up.
That's it. I love that.
And I can do it. And by the way, I'm 1-0 on the baseball season. Nothing like waking up. I didn't even check the score. I just went to Coolbet, and I knew my account was either going to be here or here. And it was here. I'm considering betting the Dodgers run line on every game this season.
It's been a really, really profitable trend for the last 10 years, how long they've been good. People have been doing that for a long time, Huss, so you would not be in the wrong to do that.
Well, I'm 1-0. I'm 1-0 so far. Maybe I'll start tracking it, but
if you're doing it again tonight, let us know. All right.
Yeah. They're back at it. The Dodgers. The run line for the Dodgers actually is plus money today. Tonight it was like minus 112 or something yesterday, or I think it was somewhat close. Actually, I should be able to tell you because I bet it. What was it last night? It was plus 108. Today it's plus 105. So I'll probably be going back to that as well. But good luck to the Oilers. Good luck to the Jets. Good luck to the favorites in the play-in tourney. That's going to be up shortly. And I guess we got to roll because WST is coming up. I will kick around something for that Jets game tonight on Winnipeg Sports Talk. I'll send it to you in the meantime, Jake. And everybody, complete the brackets. Take advantage of that 30% win boost for the play-in games. And then Thursday night or Thursday day, see what you can do to move all those meetings and get ready to lock in for a full day of action. Guys, great stuff as always. Patty, Valspar tomorrow. I'm already locked in. 2 bets already made for the Valspar. I'm focused. I'm moving on from the players. I can't wait for tomorrow.
I think I listened to yesterday's episode. I think we're already aligned on one pick. I'll just leave it at that.
Let's do this. We'll talk to you tomorrow, folks. Enjoy March Madness. The starts tonight. And again, let's go Jets and Oilers and cash this ticket tonight. Send it back to EST. Pop on over and join me on the Winnipeg Sports Talk YouTube channel for Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up in just a couple of minutes.